Hello, my name is Lucas. This is Oblivlit, and I'm here to talk about a manga by who is it by? Shuzo Oshimi, and the English title is Blood on the Tracks, and the Japanese name is Chi no Wodachi, and it is absolutely fascinating in its own right. It is a psychological horror about a young boy and his relationship with his mother. And it starts off in a very disturbing way. I'm not really one who reads manga or comic books for that matter, but I'm trying to read more this year to give it a go, and I read all 10 volumes and had some mixed feelings about some of the all 10 volumes available. Had some mixed feelings about some of them, but largely very impressed with the way the story was told. Overall, very positive feelings. It starts off with the boy as a very young child going out on a walk with his mother, and something about the way that a visual medium like a manga that is really effective, or a comic book that's really effective, is that this part is from the young boy's perspective. So it's facing, when he looks at his mother, he faces way up, and you get a sense of warmth and comfort from her. And on their walk, they find a cat. Seiji finds a cat, and he wants to pet it and play with it, but it's dead. And then the story begins, and it is all downhill from there, to be honest. Seiji's a young boy who's quite shy. He's got a cousin he always plays with and spends time with. He's a single child. His mother and father didn't have any other kids, and his family is close with his boy cousin and that family, and they decide to go out on a mountain hike. And the relationship between the mother and the son is that she is extremely protective of him, and they make fun of him for being a mama's boy, and they tease him for that, and it kind of hurts Seiji's feelings. Later we find out that this actually also really breaks his mother's heart in her own odd way. At one point, Seiji and his cousin go off on their own when they go to relieve themselves, and then his cousin goes off to play next to the cliff after doing that, and Seiji just wants to go back with everybody else, but he sort of teases his cousin, and he runs off without him. So Seiji, not knowing what to do, follows his cousin, and so did the mother. And the cousin is joking around, calls him mama's boy and all this stuff, and then he slips, and it's like he's about to fall, but the mother catches her step nephew, I guess, her nephew, and for a moment they look at each other, and he says auntie, and she pushes him off of the mountain. Ugh. And then she looks back at Seiji, her son, who is horrified by what he's seen, and she is smiling, as angelic as you've seen her before, especially when he was much younger, with that beginning part. And from there, the boy that was tossed down is in a coma for a while. He eventually wakes up and tells the truth about what happened, and that causes a whole set of other problems that's dealt with in the 9th and 10th volume, or at least the 10th one. I can't remember if it's the 9th one, but from the beginning to the end, we start to see more and more how this woman, this mother, gaslights. If you ever need, you don't need to necessarily go seek out if you don't understand the concept of gaslighting, read this manga, because she is so effective at it, and it is terrifying, the psychological trauma she's imposing on her child. There's a moment where she starts, say she's quite upset, and he's been silent, and he's got what is the word? Like a psychosomatic muteness, because of what's happened, and he has a really difficult time talking, and eventually he confronts his mother and, asks, like, why did you do that? And, these kind of things. And she's like, oh, would you, she says things like, oh, do you blame mommy? You want mommy to die? Here, put your arms on my neck and kill me, basically. And then, this is not what he wants at all. He just wants answers, and he wants to be loved and comforted and all this stuff. And he wants to understand why and what and how and what's going on. And then she turns it around on him, and she puts her hands on him and starts choking him quite severely, and then blames him for her choking him, because it is somehow his fault that she did that. There's this moment where he runs away with this little girl, not little girl, but girl his age in his school, that has a crush on him and is in love with him. She has her own family problems with her father, and her mother left. And he's, I guess, quite abusive, from what we hear, a little bit from what we see. Not nearly as much as this woman. It's very scary in a way, because it just, it's just a human, just another person. There's no evil motive. It's all, well, I guess there's a motive that you could say is evil, but it's not like she's just acting on her ideas, and it's very uncomfortable. But the mother, that is, not the girl that loves him, they run away together for a while, and she catches them out, hanging out on a bench, and the mother has all kinds of heinous things to say about this young girl, and it's just so uncomfortable. At this point, Seiichi really defends himself, and the mother runs off, and they go to her house, and he spends the night there, and gets a little excited. Nothing happens exactly, but he gets excited and leaves a mess in his pants. We'll leave it at that. The mother happens to go because she finds out where her family lives, and the way she talks, she seems to know that he's there, which of course he is there, but the things she says are so manipulative and so like, oh, I'm the one, oh, I'm so bad, and yeah, like, pity me because I have failed. It's just so uncomfortable. She is disturbing. It made me appreciate that my mother was very loving and not like this woman. Anyway, she does everything she can to, when this girl gives Seiichi a letter, She tricks and convinces and manipulates Seiji into thinking that it's best for him to rip it up and have nothing to do with her. And then she further manipulates him against the rest of the family for what's coming next, because eventually the cousin wakes up and tells the truth, and now he's very defensive of his mother, and he's pushing back against his auntie, his uncle, his cousin, and everybody else. And there's a moment where he's with the cousin, and he does the same thing that she did, not off a mountain, but in the house. And he's so... Poor kid. There's another part. I'm basically just spoiling everything, really, but it makes me uncomfortable, and it's a really great manga. You really should check it out if you're into this kind of thing, but be warned, it is emotionally traumatizing, and especially if you've been through this kind of thing, like it might be something that might actually be triggering in a way, because it shows this kind of manipulative behavior just so clearly. We learn in this story that the memory of the cat, there's this little mountain path near where they live, and he goes for a walk, and all of a sudden, with his mother, and all of a sudden he starts remembering something from his childhood, and it has to do with the cat. And it's amazing, like the way we keep coming back to the cat memory and how it changes every time. Next, we start seeing bloody hands when we see the young Seiji trying to pet the cat, and it all comes together the way we're shown to reveal that what actually happened is that the reason Seiichi's mother... I apologize for not remembering any of the characters. I read this a couple of weeks ago, and I just wasn't sure how I wanted to do the video, and I wanted to put pictures here to make clearer points, but I haven't had time, so I'm just talking about it. But when she pushed the cousin off the mountain, she thought it was Seiichi, because when Seiichi was a very young child, she took him on this walkway, and she picked him up, and she threw him off, and she came down, and she found that he was still alive, and she was disappointed by this. And then they took a little walk, and they found the dead cat. And we see this so many times, like they're really, really smart callbacks to, the way this cat memory is used, but also the way we see the mother act, because we learn that this is the life she has is not the life she wanted, and that is what motivates her a little bit. She's also extremely overprotective of Seiichi, even though she tried to kill him, because she didn't receive any love when she was a young girl. And there is a moment where I believe it's after he's run away, he comes back, and his mother and father are talking, and he's still outside looking at what's going on inside. And she is reenacting the scene in her mind and visually, like, performing it, performing the moment that day, actually, where she ties his shoes, because she has always tied his shoes and always done everything for him, and always went to kindergarten with him and did everything and always protected him, and was always there for him. And she always talks about how he's so alone and she's so alone, and they're alone together, and they're the only ones that understand. Everyone else is against them, and but he sees she is... this is in the middle. This is well before he realizes what happened to him as a young child, but he sees her acting out, putting on the shoes, and like playing with her kid or whatever, making sure Seiichi is comfortable, and talking to herself in a strange language he doesn't exactly understand, or just mumbling nonsense. And she's got this, I mean, really disturbed, crazed look on her face, and like she's crying too. And it's just like this woman is broken in her own way, and she's breaking her child. And the end of the last book volume, she's in jail, and he's gone back to this pass, and he's haunted by her memory, and he's seeing her naked in these visions of her, which is weird. And I just haven't read past that, but I'm kind of interested to know where it's gonna go. I feel like it shouldn't be a whole lot longer. Like, I would be really annoyed if it continues on for another 10 volumes. I feel like, there's some decompression that's gonna have to happen, or like other psychological damage that he's gonna have to go through. But I don't think it's gonna, I can't see it going on for much longer. But it is really incredible. I highly recommend it. I apologize for spoiling everything exactly, but since I've just talked about it, you can see how effective the visuals are, and how the dialogue, which is quite sparse, I think it's just a really amazing job. So thank you to Shuzo Oshimi for this great manga. I look forward to the rest. I hope it's not too long, though, because maybe he'll do a great job, and it will have places to go that I can't possibly imagine. I am looking forward to reading another manga. Let me know what manga I should read. I'm looking at maybe doing One Piece, but I might want, because I really love One Piece, the anime, but I might want to do something short. So let me know. Thank you. Bye.